This is it. This is the pinnacle of Season 1 gameplay. Ladies, gentlemen, and Harajam of all ages, what on earth is going on right now with Diablo 4? The patch 2 days ago was what it was. We have voiced our complaints quite loudly. A lot of people very fairly decided that they were done with the game for a few months and to bow out of Season 1 completely, and I get where all that was coming from, but essentially, at this moment, playing this game is my job. So of course, I went into the season as it launched, and I, along with anyone else who did the same, is experiencing something incredibly unexpected and equally as frustrating. Login queues, extremely long login queues, infinite loading screens into various dungeons that require Alt F4 in the game to then sit in the long login queue once again. Rubber banding infinitely out of towns. I cannot physically do my class quest because every time I try to go into that zone from any angle, I get stuck on an invisible wall. A lot of players are also reporting that at this moment, if you try to interact with Cormond, the NPC who is in charge of the entire seasonal quest line, it just won't work. There are so many people trying to do it that it just isn't functioning. And as if that wasn't enough, all manner of weird bugs are happening on the server. Here's a blue post, meaning an official forum post, saying that certain nightmare dungeons are apparently not giving any rewards at the end of them on the Eternal Realm. So the Eternal Realm has been messed up with this patch too. Also, a couple of normal dungeons aren't giving rewards either. It's a mess. Hell, there is even a new bug where the literal camera is struggling to follow players around, which is genuinely one of the funniest bugs I've seen in ages, but with the context of everything else going on, it is sort of hard already to do anything but laugh at the state this game is in at this precise immediate moment. Everything is a mess. I can only imagine this is what the office looks like right now, and I wouldn't blame them if they are. The biggest kick in the teeth of all of this is how absolutely buttery smooth the actual launch of the base game was, you know? Say what you will about the changes made since launch, and I have said it to myself, but this game had a ridiculously smooth launch for it. Barely any queues at all, minimal server issues just as a whole, really, and now a month and a half later, we are here in Season 1, and what the hell is this? There is a 0% chance that there are more people playing Season 1 at the exact time of its launch than there were playing the base game during its launch week, on the weekend, all that, especially after the loss of hype from a massive portion of the community after patch 1.1 dropped. And yet, these servers are handling so incredibly poorly right now in comparison to the base game launch. What this tells me personally is that Blizzard did something wrong between launch and now with their servers. They must have messed up their servers somehow, either just weakened them in general, or maybe they probably even shut down some of them after the initial influx of players slowed down to save themselves money from running more. And now it's here biting us all in the ass who decided to stick around and give it another chance. We've seen official posts from Blizzard saying they are aware of these issues. Thank you for being patient. But I think the amount of patience in this community is wearing razor thin at this moment. And the big main reason for that is, well, the patch 2 days ago really demoralized a ton of players already. If the patch that led into this season was positively received, if it was fun, if it was full of content, full of positive changes, then people would be way more willing to accept a slightly muddy launch of Season 1 with server problems for the first day or so. It would be at least acceptable. Obviously, we wouldn't be necessarily happy about it, but we could manage. But combining that patch with this launch is just sort of disgusting. I don't even know how else to put it. Some people are even saying that the whole idea of the renown transferring if you log into your Eternal Realm characters to seasonal characters is not happening properly. So it's working for some people and it's not for others. It's just so inconsistent. It is so janky and it's so just haphazardly put together. I'm really, really disappointed right now. And the thing is, there are still a ton of people that are just straight up sitting in a server queue in the first place that cannot even get into the game itself and experience these issues for themselves. I'm at a loss for words at this point. All of that said, there are ways that you can deal with all of this for those who are still interested in playing and still are actually in the servers. Those who are not waiting in the queues, there are ways around some of these issues to alleviate them a little bit. It seems a lot of people are reporting that manually going into your settings menu onto the social tab and turning off cross-network play is improving all of these issues actually pretty dramatically. Not completely fixing it isn't quite that simple, but it is making it ease off just a bit. That said, even then, what do we really have going for us? If you really desperately need to get to a specific location for your class quest or to access a dungeon that gives you an important Codex aspect, and you try to enter an area and encounter a rubber banding wall, try using a different exit. A big example of this working is the northeastern exit from Kyovashad simply has an invisible wall. But if you go to the southeast exit of the city, instead it actually doesn't, and then you can just wrap around to go to the same area. The reason for this is that way more people try to go out of the northeast, so that area is having issues. High traffic areas are a problem. So you want to find the least common paths to travel, and you'll have a higher rate of success getting where you're trying to go. Yes, that's a ridiculous thing to say. It's a ridiculous thing that we have to do, and it's ridiculous that I have to recommend it to you, but it works, and it's a way to keep the game at least functioning a little bit for the people that care enough to do these silly things. Past that, if you are really struggling, if you essentially cannot move around the map in any reasonable way, then there is basically one thing left that you can do to at least semi-efficiently farm XP. It is not the most engaging way, it is not the most efficient way, it will slow you down a ton, but it is a way to spend your time within Diablo 4 that theoretically won't get you kicked off of the server, won't be affected by rubber banding, and won't give you any issues interacting with too many players at once, doing things like engaging in the seasonal questline, God forbid. Simply find the closest dungeon to you that you can physically get to. You know the good list of dungeons already, let's be honest, if you care about XP you are already aware of them, and those that are worth trying if you can. If you got to the point in the seasonal questline that you unlocked Malignant tunnels, I would recommend instead doing that with a Malignant tunnel. Do your chosen dungeon, or tunnel, the one that you can actually get into, complete it, exit with the emote wheel, open your map to reset the dungeons and tunnels, then go back in and do it again. That's right, the most consistent way to avoid all of these issues is to just choose one singular activity in one location, ideally far away from a capital city, and just do it on repeat. And that's where we are right now. That's where the game stands. 2 days after a patch that a reasonably large number of people are calling one of the worst ones in modern gaming history, and we have the launch of new content on servers that are feeling completely unplayable. So we now have to struggle like all hell just to participate in something a lot of people were already unhappy with the changes too. I heard people saying that Diablo 4 was too easy before, but hey, all of this, it's pretty hard to put up with. But hey, the hearts are cool, right? The fact that they removed overworld level requirements so you can level up in whatever zone or dungeon you want is actually cool. The fact that you can immediately beeline to the dungeons that house your important aspects is actually a really good change for seasonal players. And none of it currently matters until they fix these server issues. I have no idea what it will take for them to fix it properly, because my best guess as to what went wrong is they simply shut down a number of servers since the launch of the game. That is the only way I can understand launch being as smooth as it was, and Season 1 suddenly having all of these issues that launch didn't. A bunch of people are trying to play at the same time right now. Yeah, but still way less than were logging in together at the base game launch, even a week after that. And unless their server quality itself has just seriously degraded over the last month and a half, the only answer that I can see is that they chose to close down some servers to save themselves money. They overdid it, and now we are experiencing the results of all of that. At least, as I went through before, there are some manual changes we can make on the player side to alleviate a small number of these issues, but even then, the answers that I have for you only work if you can even get past the login queues in the first place, which a lot of people just can't. It sucks. It's not good. And coming after the patch, this is a major scorch mark on the game. Tomorrow we have the Campfire Chat with the devs. I would heavily recommend anyone that is willing to take a break without sitting there seething about it does take a break. Just take your mind off this for a bit. Give them time to get stuff working. Hopefully we will all wake up tomorrow to functional servers at the very least. Go into the dev chat, see what they have to say about everything. At this point in time, I don't have particularly high hopes that what they will say on the stream will alleviate my current feelings, but I just feel like we're being beat up by the developers right now. First, a slap in the face with a patch, now getting kicked while we're down with the season launch servers. I hope that the stream itself isn't them just sitting there spitting on us and then walking away while all joy people had for the game slowly bleeds out. That's it really. Everything that I had to say right now. Honestly, I needed to rant a bit about how disappointing all of this is following the patch, and especially considering the smoothness of the actual proper game launch. It really looked like they had servers under control, and the combination of both is just really beating me down. I had a couple of potential fixes to report to you, and hopefully that does actually help you out. While I've been making this, Josh and Hollow are reporting that the cross-network play setting being turned off has actually really helped them a lot. It seems to be alleviating a lot of the problems, so I hope the fixes that I offered you guys help you out as well. But if they don't, all we can really do is wait for things to fix. When they do, I'll be less angry, but right now I feel like my current state of mind is pretty reasonable given what's going on, and hopefully this is fixed sooner rather than later for anyone who has not just been totally turned away by the first few hours of this launch. Like if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world our stage. Goodbye.